the issue of ego-mongering amongst politicians in either houses is something then again that we need to have it addressed. The National Assembly and the Senate have been jostling for supremacy and power. Debate ensuing as to whether it is the National Assembly that is the upper house and which one has got the veto powers and superior powers to the other. That matter has affected various pieces of legislation or bills, matters of budgeting, and you can remember even the matter that was referred to the Supreme Court for a legal opinion and interpretation of the Supreme Court in the matter of the Speaker of the National Assembly versus Attorney General on the role of the Senate with regard to a budget affecting county governments. Now, when you look at the general political praxis and systems across the world, those countries that have got a Senate, they have the Senate as the upper house, and it is vested with veto powers. When you look at the legal and constitutional architecture of representation in Kenya, especially the legislature, you realize that the National Assembly has got broader powers and responsibilities and mandate as compared to the Senate. Technically, those broader powers and responsibilities in Kenya today make the National Assembly superior to the Senate. The Senate then being vested only with legislative powers, yes, to do with county governments or devolution. Secondly, issues of, say, impeachment of the president or his deputy, and that bill has to originate from the National Assembly. So you look at how lean and mean the powers and responsibilities of the Senate are, yet very, very fundamental. So changing that legal architecture to have the Senate as the upper house, the apex house in terms of legislation, having the veto powers, etc., would not be a bad thing. In any case, you realize that the composition of the Senate, having such numbers as is being proposed, 97 members, having one man and one woman from each of the 47 counties, then of course having the Speaker there as the ex officio, etc. It would be a very exciting thing. But then again, it should not just be a question of having the Senate as the upper house. It will then be a question of hiving off some responsibilities or tasks or mandate from the National Assembly and heaping it in the Senate. Because to the extent that the Senate will remain with such lean responsibilities and the National Assembly having broader responsibilities and powers, then it beats, or it would defeat the purpose of having the Senate as the upper house with very limited responsibilities. So it would be very good now to see how the framework of responsibilities and tasks of the Senate can be enhanced and broadened. If at all, yes, for the longest time, after the abolition of the first Senate in this country, after the amendment of the primary or the preliminary constitution that we used to have in this country, Constitution of Kenya 1963, the National Assembly has existed as parliament because we have been having a unicameral system. The recent introduction of a bicameral system and the introduction of the Senate, this National Assembly chose to retain or to assume the primary or superior powers because of the historical existence that has been there for the longest. So right now, appreciating that yes, constitutions are there to be amended and adopted and to adapt also to new thinking, new desires and new propositions for progress and for the advancement of democracy, then having the Senate as the upper house and with veto powers would be a very good thing. And I think it is a welcome idea. It will, once that is very clear from the onset and in law, then this jostling for supremacy or superiority between the National Assembly and the Senate will cease to be.